So you're telling me 67% of you fear running out of money more than death, and 57% get the jitters when the market dips. Honestly, it is pathetic. Not because the fear isn't real, but because it is mostly self-inflicted. It is an ignorance problem, not a market problem. You feel powerless because you haven't bothered to understand the very basics of your own financial life. It is like being afraid of driving because you haven't learned how to use the steering wheel or the brakes. What do you expect? To just magically arrive at your destination without any effort or understanding? That is not how anything works, especially not money. People are terrified of what they don't comprehend. And most of you, let's be brutally honest here, don't comprehend your finances beyond the simple act of saving a bit of cash, which, by the way, is just step one of about 1,000 steps. But don't worry, I'm not here to make you feel warm and fuzzy. I'm here to slap you with some cold, hard truth, and maybe, just maybe, give you a few simple, boring, and unbelievably effective strategies to stop being a financial crybaby. We're going to dismantle these fears, not with complex algorithms or some secret stock picking strategy, because complexity is a status signal for people who want to feel smart but stay poor. We're going to do it with basic, almost insulting, common sense. If you can't explain your financial plan to a 12-year-old, you're just gambling, and gambling is for casinos, not your retirement. First up, the written financial plan, the holy grail that 48% of you apparently can't be bothered to create. This isn't about some 50-page document filled with jargon. It is about sketching out a roadmap, a simple drawing of where your money comes from, where it is going, and what happens when the unexpected inevitably happens. Firms like Vanguard, Northwestern Mutual, and Charles Schwab, the big boys who actually understand money, they all agree people with a written plan are 2 to 3 times more confident, and they don't panic sell at the first sign of a market sneeze. You'd think this would be obvious, right? If you have a plan, you know what to do. If you don't, you just flap around like a headless chicken, yet nearly half of you are headless chickens when it comes to your money. A written plan clarifies your target retirement number, your timeline, how long that retirement needs to last, and a distribution strategy. How does that big pile of money actually become income? How do you turn savings into a predictable income stream? Where is your emergency fund? How will you cover the gap between your expenses and your guaranteed income? These are not rhetorical questions. These are the fundamental questions you need to answer. But most of you are just saving blindly, hoping for the best. That is not a strategy, that is a wish. And wishes don't pay the bills. Next, Social Security. This is your income floor. Your bedrock, yet Alliance, bless their hearts for actually looking into this, says most Americans have no idea how it fits into their plan. Go to SSA.gov, create your free account. It is not rocket science. It is a government website. You can handle it. See your work history, your projected benefits at different ages. 62 for early retirement, 70 for maximum benefits. This information is gold. It tells you what your portfolio actually needs to cover. It shows you that your portfolio doesn't have to bear the entire burden of your spending. Social Security is your guaranteed monthly check no matter what the market is doing. It is a literal safety net, but you have to know what it is and how to use it. Ignorance here is not bliss. It is just plain stupid. Then there is taxes in retirement, another massive blind spot for most of you. The Center for Retirement Research. Actual researchers, not some TikTok guru, they found that the majority of retirees pay no federal income taxes. Think about that for a second. 80% of households pay federal income taxes in their peak working years. By 65, it is 50%. By 70, it is 35%. Why? Because income often declines. Social Security is partially tax-free for many, no payroll taxes, and many states are more favorable for retirees. Taxes plummet, but don't get too smug. If you have massive traditional account balances, dual Social Security benefits, or a fat pension, you might still get hammered. The point is, know your situation. Don't just assume some generic advice applies to you. That is how you end up paying more than you need to. Healthcare costs. Oh boy, this one is a real joy, the biggest source of uncertainty, and the hardest to estimate, which is why I've partnered with Chapter, a Medicare advisory platform. They help you compare plans, check doctors, prescriptions, and coverage, and project your costs in retirement. This is not an endorsement. It is a referral to a useful tool. They'll help you figure out what this black hole of expenses actually looks like. If you're nearing 65 or already on Medicare, talk to one of their licensed advisors. The link's in the description. Yes, it is an affiliate link. I'm not running a charity here, but it is a genuinely good resource to help you avoid financial ruin from medical bills. It's about having a plan for the inevitable, not sticking your head in the sand. Now, let's talk income-based planning versus portfolio-based thinking. This is a big one, and it is backed by research from David Blanchett and Michael Fink. When you think, I have a $400,000 portfolio, it feels abstract. it is hard to visualize what kind of life that supports. But if you shift to thinking in terms of income, specifically guaranteed income and discretionary income, it becomes concrete, tangible. Imagine a household with $4,100 a month in guaranteed Social Security income. Then they have $400,000 invested, generating about $1,700 a month at a 5% withdrawal rate. That is their flexible income. See the difference? It is no longer just a number in a brokerage account. It is money coming in every single month. Guaranteed plus flexible. You can adjust the flexible part, spend more when markets are up, pull back when they're down. Research shows that framing wealth as income leads to more stability, control, confidence, less anxiety, and more comfort spending your money. It is a psychological trick that actually works. Use it. Next, understanding safe withdrawal flexibility, the 4% rule. It is a conservative baseline based on rigid inflation, adjusted withdrawals. But real people aren't rigid. Research from Morningstar, Vanguard, and Michael Kitz's shows that with even basic flexibility, starting withdrawal rates can go up to 5.7%, and success rates improve significantly. This doesn't mean drastic lifestyle changes. It is often as simple as skipping an inflation raise or temporarily reducing your portfolio draw by 5 to 10%. Let's say you're pulling $20,400 a year. Reduce it by 10% during a downturn. That is about $1,800 less per year. $153 a month. We're not talking about eating cat food here. We're talking about minor adjustments. But these small adjustments, made at the right time, have an outsized impact on your portfolio's long-term success. They can improve success rates by 10 to 20 plus percentage points, preserve tens of thousands, even $100,000 or more in portfolio value, and extend your portfolio's life by years. You avoid selling when your assets are depressed, giving your portfolio time to recover. This is your downturn playbook, knowing exactly what to do when the market decides to throw a tantrum. This is how you turn panic into a plan, building a cash buffer. This is your sequence risk protection. One of the most practical ways to reduce anxiety in retirement. The idea is simple and well-researched. Have 3 to 5 years' worth of cash readily accessible in a money market fund, CDs, bills, whatever. This means you don't have to sell investments during a downturn. You protect yourself from sequence of returns risk. That dreaded scenario where you retire into a bear market and your portfolio gets decimated early on. A market drop becomes a non-event. You just say, "Oh, the market's down. That is cute. I don't need it right now." But here is the kicker. You don't need to cover all your expenses with this buffer. Just the gap between your necessary spending and your guaranteed income streams. If your guaranteed income covers most of your basics, you only need a buffer for the discretionary stuff. For our example household, that gap was $1,700 a month. So a 3-year buffer is about $61,200. Not insignificant, but manageable, and it gives your portfolio multiple years to recover without you touching it. It is literally buying peace of mind, finally, allowing Social Security to serve as your foundation, your income floor. This is one of the most underappreciated stabilizers in retirement. For low earners, it is about 75% income replacement. Middle income earners, around 40%. Married couples without a pension, about 62% of household income. These are not small numbers. Once you understand your projected benefits, you can plan when to claim and how it fits into your overall retirement income picture. This changes everything because your portfolio doesn't have to carry the full burden. Many retirees spend less than they did while working, and Social Security covers a significant portion, especially for lower and middle income earners. That gap you need to fill from your portfolio suddenly becomes much more manageable. If you need $60,000 a year and Social Security covers $48,000, you only need to cover $12,000 from your portfolio. That feels a hell of a lot more manageable than covering the whole $60,000. For most Americans, Social Security is the bedrock, the foundation upon which your entire retirement plan is built. If you actually bother to build a plan that is so, to summarize this whole rant, if you take everything we've just covered, a written financial plan, clear income floors like Social Security, a flexible withdrawal strategy where you know exactly where and how much you'll cut during a downturn, and a 3 to 5 year cash buffer, your entire retirement experience changes. A market drop doesn't feel threatening anymore because you have a plan. You know exactly what to do, where your income comes from, how much you can adjust, and what you won't touch. The stats about fear, 67% afraid of running out of money more than death. They're only high because people don't know how their plan works, or more accurately, they don't have a plan. Once you understand what you can safely spend, what happens in a downturn, and where your income is coming from, that fear melts away. It is very hard to manage what you don't understand. So understand your money. Take control of your life. Stop being more afraid of running out of money than running out of life. Get confident with your money so you can enjoy what you've worked for. Now, what are your thoughts on these stats? Leave a comment below. I post new videos every week. If you got anything out of this, please like. If you're new, subscribe, or share it with someone who needs a dose of reality. I'll see you soon. Bye.